Hey everybody, welcome to my channel Strength Karma. I'm Kamina Sue, and today I have the absolute pleasure of interviewing somebody who I have so much respect for, and this is my good friend Maia Bahlsen. So Maia is a woman who is quite a visionary here in these here parts. In fact, she would be anywhere in the world. She runs an animal sanctuary. She's also been walking the talk as a yoga teacher and living the true yogic lifestyle. And the reason why she's here today is that she is an expert on plant-based nutrition.
It's lovely to be on your show. I really like how you bring all this cool information to the people, and wish you really good luck with your YouTube channel. And I'm very, very happy to share my workshop in a nutshell.
And so guys, today what we're going to be covering with Maia are the 5 key myths around plant-based nutrition. There's a lot of conflicting information out here. Stay tuned because Maia's going to be expertly debunking 5 myths. So Maia, this is very interesting right here. Myth number 1, protein comes from meat. Could you just talk a little bit about that myth?
I have to talk about that. I mean, I can't stop talking about it because it is so insane. We think the protein comes from the cow because it has a magic metabolism to transfer something that is not protein into protein through its body. Well, this is incorrect. The grass contains the protein, or better, the amino acids, yeah, that the cow needs to produce its own protein, right? It is all coming from the plant already. The cow is not producing that. The cow does what every living being is. It takes amino acids with a short-chained molecules and puts it with the information of its own DNA into longer chains, which we call protein. And this is what we call the building block of life. Now, every living being forms its own proteins due to the information from the DNA. And we have a different DNA to a cow, have we? We do. So we are eating protein from plants, cows are eating protein from plants, or amino acids, and then we are creating a different protein to what the cow is producing. And that's the problem. So instead of getting the information from the plant, amino acids here, it's like the foundation for your own protein. You're already getting a protein from somebody who has created it for itself. And this is since the 1980s proven to be a detrimental health concern to humans, and ever has been, but I will get to that, why this has not come up earlier. So it is a scientific fact, and if you're interested, read the China study from Dr. Colin Campbell, like 500,000 real life people studies, right, over 10 years, that the protein has, because of this, negative effects. So the protein does not come from the cow, it comes from the plants, and it comes for every living being from a plant.
It's a pretty wasteful approach to be getting protein, deriving a protein from an animal-based source. The conversion rate for the amount of plants that would needed to feed a cow and to get the resultant amount of protein from a cow is so much less.
Made a visual for that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you see the little steak in the corner?
I see the steak, yes.
And you see all the plants? That's what you need for this steak.
Right.
So 27 times of a plant-based protein you need to produce 1 part of animal protein. Now, is that a waste or not? And of course, when it's wasteful, it's also unsustainable, right? So now we are having the health of the people. Animal protein is detrimental to the health, and I'm very happy to dwell on that much longer. But if you're really interested, read this China study, you will be amazed. Think of it, how wasteful it is and how detrimental it is to the sustainability of the earth. If you have so much to grow, so much crops to feed 1 animal instead of feeding the people with it. And this is what brings down the all the rainforests. It's because for animal farming, the Amazon rainforest is felled down like a football field every minute or something like that, just to get more grazing area for cattle that become meat. And then we have all the feces of all these animals that are polluting our waters. and that are causing ocean zones to die. This is all the beginning of a dreadful tragedy for humanity on so many levels.
Well, especially like here in New Zealand, I was actually quite, I mean, we can be very complacent here about, oh, we live in a clean, green place, but I think it's something like, you know, over 60% of waterways here, people, you can't swim in them and you can't drink the water from them, the vast majority of them. And
No.
I do believe it's from a lot of the pollution comes from the primary industries here, you know, dairy
Absolutely.
farming being a big part of that. And it's very, I think we've just, over the past few decades in this country, we've been extremely complacent, and we haven't managed the most precious resource we have here. So this is myth number 2, Maia. Calcium comes from dairy.
That's what we've been told, right? I mean, that's what we've been told, and for some very understandable reasons, because of the marketing. So look at these pictures. This is what was stand in every newspaper, on every billboard, in every commercial advertisement on TV. You saw these 10 years ago, you saw these everywhere in the world, all the time. Milk with 50% more protein and calcium. More of what? Look, it's advertisement. There is no information in, and milk makes you stronger. Why? It doesn't say. And this is detrimental. It has been proven as a scientific fact that is the most common initiator for breast cancer and prostata cancer is cow's milk.
And also the fact that it's very high in saturated fat. I mean, obviously, if you have like a low-fat dairy, but it's I think it has actually been proven that dairy as a whole is not great for human health, especially in the quantities that we're encouraged to have it in, like in milkshakes or with kids. Like I think the Dairy Board in Australia sponsors like a classroom health or for kids program that are indoctrinated from a very young age. I know I was. It was Wheat Bix and whole milk for breakfast. That was a national breakfast. In fact, it still is positioned as that here in New Zealand.
2 years ago, you saw pictures like this in the newspaper everywhere.
That's
Look
right.
at this athlete. Why is he an athlete? Because he's smoking cigarettes.
Have a cigarette, go out and race some hurdles.
More doctors smoke Camel than any other cigarette. It's healthy. That's what it's implying.
That's right.
And then look at the lovely lady there, right? A Hollywood movie star. You know, she can only be beautiful because she smokes. The cigarette industry were able to advertise, which we now know is detrimental to your health and causes lung cancer and all other sorts of problems, was able to advertise that and misled the whole population for half a century, until there was thousands of studies starting in the 1920s how detrimental smoking is to the health of the people. They still advertised. When it was the 7,000th study, and I'm talking about peer-reviewed scientific studies, 7,000, then the government has to bow to the science and had to issue laws that you are not allowed to advertise cigarettes in regards to good health.
So Maia, this is interesting. Myth number 4, fish is a healthy meat. Why, in your opinion, is it not healthy?
Now think about a fish, yeah? Swimming in the ocean. That's where we get the fish from. Or in the sea or in the lake, wherever, in the waters, right? That is the environment they are living in. They are made out of this environment. Now, what is the purpose on Earth of the waters? It is to take the rubbish away. Yeah? All the rubbish you're creating, every feces, even every pharmaceutical goes through the waste system into the waters. And there is no way to clean that out. Now all these toxins that are going in the sea are still there on a much higher level than ever seen. And the fish, they are now, they are storing this in their bodies. The toxins are not coming out at the bottom of fish. Like in the human body, the toxins are staying in the tissues. You cannot sweat out toxins. You cannot poop out toxins. You cannot urinate out toxins. They are staying in your tissues. Now, if a fish comes on your plate, what do you have? You have high amounts of toxic metals and everything you just wanted to get rid of. You are now accumulated on your table. The most fish that you have on your plate is farmed fish. There are some wild caught fish. We come to that. That's another atrocity, because this involves all the sea life that we are losing with these huge towing boats that are cleaning off the ocean grounds of all living things. This is fish farming. So you have all the detrimental aspects of a food on your plate, which is kind of accumulated in a fish or in a shrimp or in a lobster or whatever they farm for you, right? I know vegetarians who don't eat meat, but they eat fish. Of course, they wouldn't eat fish if they would know about all these things that they eat when they have put it into their body, but they don't know because they don't think about it and they don't do the research. But I'm happy to share that, because I done this research over years, and I came to the conclusion that actually the fish is the worst meat you can eat. First, I want to talk to you is humans are omnivores. Now, what is an omnivore? An omnivore is by definition a living being that eats everything, that can live out of everything, and everything it eats is healthy and digestible for the body. That there is really no benefit of eating any kind of animal product, right? We have skipped the eggs, but I tell you, the eggs are talking about cholesterol and saturated fats. They are worst on that side. A dog is a true omnivore. A dog an omnivore also means not that you need like a very defined variety of all foods, animals and plants. No, omnivore means you can live out of anything. A pig can live out of anything, although they're actually vegetarians, but a dog is a true omnivore. The dog can live out of vegetables alone. And yes, they can also live out of meat because they have the digestive system to do so. Because he's got the digestive system. He has a shorter digestive tract. He has like the food doesn't stay in there so much. He has the canines, the teeth to actually catch an animal. Now look at your teeth. How do you ever catch an animal with that? How can you ever outrun a rabbit? Excuse me. That makes no sense to me, right? So what are we then? So first of all, I like to point out that we are, of course, no carnivores, and I think everybody agrees with that. There are a couple of silly people on the internet saying we are carnivore. We are not. We cannot possibly only live on meat. Nobody really sane in its mind doubts that, but they think, no, we have to have meat for the protein. Now we know we have debunked that. Protein is in plants, so we don't need meat for the protein either. Why would we need meat? We don't. And also we cannot digest it, because humans have a long digestive tract where food sits in for about, especially meat, for about 2 days. Yes. Now think of a hot summer day. Do you think 36 degrees is hot?
It would be hot outside.
Now think you put a steak outside in 36-degree weather for 2 days.
Right.
How does it look?
It would be pretty disgusting.
That's what's in your digestive tract. Now put out a carrot in the hot summer day. What happens after 2 days? It's maybe a little bit shrimply. You would still eat it, right?
Yeah, you could eat a carrot. Sure. You could still eat the carrot, sure.
Yeah, you can. You can still eat an apple. You can still eat that. That's why they are designed to stay good for longer, to go through the digestive tract along like we have. Why do we have a long digestive? Because we need to get rid of the fiber, because we need the fiber out of our food, because we need to eat whole food. And that takes longer. So your digestive tract needs to be long to digest all the goodies from the whole plant, which contains the fiber of a whole food, like the bran of a rice corn. White rice has no bran, brown rice has a bran. Brown rice takes much longer to be digested in the body, and this is why we have the long digestive tract. So, Camilla, when we think about what is the natural diet of a human, of a being, right? What gives us not only a hint is not only the digestive tract, any other anatomy things like teeth or jaw or something. It's behavior. Behavior is the key aspect where we find out what food is a species going for. Now, when you look at this picture, if you give a cat who is a carnivore a bird and strawberries, guess what she's getting for? She wants the bird. Now, when you look at this picture, what do you want to eat?
Strawberries.
You want the strawberries, and everybody else wants the strawberry. This is human behavior. We are not staring at the bird, getting all excited and waiting for the chance to grab it. We enjoy it. We love it. We love the bird song. We love the colors. This is human behavior. That wouldn't be the case if we would be a carnivore, not even if we would be omnivores, because birds would be a food for us. So if we would be an omnivore, depending on parts meat in our diet, we would eat birds for sure. We want fruits. We want fruits that have natural sugars and starches in there. A really interesting fact about starch. First of all, starches are plentiful in protein. The potato has 9% protein. The ratio from protein to carbohydrates to fats is important for humans and all beings. And in humans, the healthy ratio is less than 10% proteins, way less than 10% of fat, and the rest carbohydrates, long chain carbohydrates that are low in the glycemic index. When you know the glycemic index, the higher it is and more processed is the food. The lower it is, as less processed and as whole is the food. So all this has the proper ratio of protein. Secondly, it has a proper array of vitamins and minerals. It grows in the earth. Minerals come from the earth. Everything is in the earth. It is full of dietary fiber, which is what our digestive tract needs. We need to feed our gut bacteria with fiber, otherwise they would starve. And when the gut is not healthy, the whole body is unhealthy, right? And of course, human behavior, for us, it's very satisfying food. We love pumpkin soup and potato chips and fries and just cooked potatoes. We love all of it. We love corn. We love absolutely everything about this food, right? It's comfy food for us. It is also low in fat, and we don't want high fat food. That's not good for human consumption. It contains zero zip cholesterol, as none of the plants do. Cholesterol is only found in animals and animal products because the animals, as we do, humans as well, produce our own cholesterol. We cannot deal with Salmonella, E. coli, etc. It makes us so sick, right? Not everyone. A pig is not sick. It can completely fine deals with Salmonella, not humans. But every animal product is producing these pathogens within days, like when it's dead, within days. So this gives us the idea, and we don't want to eat raw fresh meat neither. This is not our food because we cannot naturally cope with it. We get very, very sick, and nature doesn't intend us to do that. So we do not get sick from any kind of plants because they do not grow any human pathogen. The plants do not store poisonous chemicals like DDT or methylmercury. They are incapable of storing that, so they don't give it to us neither, although they find it in the grounds, right? This is all on the side of this is proof to us that we eat this food naturally, and everything else is a conditioned belief system. I've got this little chart to everybody's welcome to take a screenshot of that to see where the differences is and how this all adds up what I just talked about.
The recent rise of keto and people shunning carbs and not wanting to eat them because they are, wanting to lose weight and they feel they're not very satiating. I think it's also because of the preponderance of like really super refined carbs that have just become normal parts of people's diets. Yes, okay,
Yeah.
so if you drop those things, that makes sense that you're going to feel better. But I think you're pretty spot on when it comes to the whole forms of carbs, which has the fiber and everything intact. That those things are very, very health giving. I think hopefully as people watching this and their taste will change, or they experiment with what they're eating, then they won't be so attracted to those processed carbs anymore, and actually incorporate carbs again as a healthy part of their diet. So Maia, a myth that actually often comes up is that a whole food plant-based diet is expensive. What are your thoughts around that?
Okay, so there has been also a lot of research done, and lovely people that you find in YouTube channels and on the internet have posted their monthly bills who are whole food plant-based foodies. Fact is, if you're not going to the center aisle of the supermarket and buying the vegan junk food, aka the processed prepared food, if you go to the outskirts and go to the fresh veggies and to the bulk sections where you find the grains and the nuts and the seeds that you want for your to prepare your food of, you can cut your bill by 2/3. First of all, you think about what you don't buy. You don't buy the most expensive things, like everything out of dairy is expensive. Butter, cheese, meat, of course, in all kinds of forms is expensive. And instead, you're not buying the even more expensive vegan meat or even more expensive vegan butter. No, you don't need none of these, right? You can make delicious meals out of vegetables, fruits, seeds, nuts, grains, and legumes. Absolutely everything.
Interesting. And also a lot of those things that you mentioned, Maia, you can also buy in bulk there and in season. So, and you can also grow your own. That's another thing as well. You can grow your own vegetables, depending on where you are, and you don't need a lot of space. It's this I think we have been fed a myth over many, many decades, and which has made us compliant and dependent on these big food companies and these primary industry producers to keep the money coming in. And I think people are waking up though. Maia, thank you so much for your time today. Obviously, you're just a wealth of information, and people can find you on the Earthbound Kitchen. I think you've got a website there.
So the website is teparanui.nz, teparanui.nz. And when you go there, you can go to the Earthbound Kitchen. That's where I have my courses. At the moment, they're only for locals, but I'm planning on in the future to make an online course.
So we'll have all of that information for you guys watching this video, Maia's contact information below this video. Maia, once again, thank you so much for your time today, and thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this content, I put out content every week. Please consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.